Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is International Islamic University, Islamabad Schools, Sahiwal Campus online lectures. This lecture is for grade 5 for the subject of English, and we are doing unit number 19, which is a description. The name of description is a school watchman, which is about a person. And this is third lecture from unit number 19. In this lecture we are going to cover the topics of vocabulary from the exercise of this unit. Then we move towards the language portion, where we will cover about the topics about adverbs and adjectives. Okay, dear grade 5 students, before we begin this lecture, you must have your English students book, your English classbook, notebook and your complete stationery with you. I hope that you are listening all your lectures with care and attention, and you are following all the instructions given by your teacher and writing down everything said by your teacher. And never forget to send your books and notebooks for checking to school. Okay, let's begin today's lecture. Please open your English students book, page number 128, where the topic of vocabulary begins. Mark date and day on the top of this page, page 128, vocabulary. Okay, the exercise is read the summary, choose a word or phrase from the box to replace each of the words in bold type. Dear grade 5 students, in the previous lecture we covered word meanings and question answers from this unit, and I have given you already the synonyms and alternate words for डिफ़िकल्ट वर्ड्स फ्रॉम दिस यूनिट. इस एक्सरसाइज में आपने सिर्फ एक समरी को रीड आउट करना है, और इसमें जो बोल्ड फेस में जो बोल्ड आपको वर्ड्स और फ्रेजेस नज़र आ रहे हैं, आपने उनको रिप्लेस करना है किसी दूसरे वर्ड के साथ. एंड यू कैन फाइंड ऑल दोज रिप्लेसमेंट वर्ड्स इन द blue bar on top of this page. You have to just pick words from this blue bar to replace the bold face words. You can do this exercise on your notebook, and if you are doing this exercise in your classwork notebook, then you don't need to write down the complete paragraph. You just have to write down the words that are in bold face here and the replacement words. For example, first word is, okay, for example, let me read the summary for you, which is Mr. Umar lived in a small house in the schoolyard. Okay, when you are doing this exercise, its solution, you just have to write down the phrase small house in the classwork notebook. आपने ये complete summary नहीं लिखनी, आप सिर्फ वहाँ लिखेंगे as a solution of this exercise. पहले आप लिखेंगे small house, और इसके बाद आप वो वाला word लिखेंगे जो आपको इसके replacement में मैं दूँगी. For example, I give you hut, then you will write down hut in front of the word small house. बिल्कुल इसी तरह जैसे आप अपने word meanings करते हैं, आप वर्ड लिखते हैं उसके सामने उसका मीनिंग लिखते हैं, बिल्कुल उसी तरह आप सिर्फ ये बोल्ड फेस वर्ड्स फ्रेजेस लिखेंगे और उनके सामने उनके रिप्लेसमेंट वर्ड्स लिखेंगे. सो लेट्स बिगिन द एक्सरसाइज. ओके, आई हैव गिवन यू द समरी विद रिप्लेस्ड वर्ड्स हेयर. Let me read it for you. Mr. Umar lived in a small house in the schoolyard. Here the phrase small house is in boldface, and I replaced it with the word hut. आप लिखेंगे small house और उसके सामने लिखेंगे hut. Nothing made him feel more angry than school children. Nothing made him feel more. For the word angry, I replaced it with irritated. डियर स्टूडेंट्स, आप ये नोटिस करेंगे कि यहाँ पे जो वर्ड्स लिखे हुए हैं वो रिप्लेस्ड वर्ड्स हैं, और जो मैं आपको वर्ड्स लिखवा रही हूँ रिप्लेसमेंट में, वो ही एक्चुअली वो वर्ड्स हैं जो कि लेसन में लिखे हुए थे. ही गार्डेड द स्कूल अगेंस्ट थेफ्ट. फॉर थेफ्ट आई यूज्ड द वर्ड burglary. He hated to see the crowds of children coming through the school gates. He hated to see the multitude of children. One of his eyebrows were always raised, and his eyes were usually half closed. For word always, I used here. One of his eyebrows was permanently raised, and his eyes were usually for half closed. I written here half open. He always had an unpleasant smile on his face. He always had sneer on his face. He could tell the difference between the sound of fruit falling naturally and the sound of children knocking it off the tree. Okay, he distinguished, could tell the difference. I replaced it with distinguished between the quelched fruit falling. For the word sound, I replaced here quelched because the sound of children knocking, okay, due to the natural cause, and the sound of the children knocking it off the tree. Okay, on page 129, our next section is language portion, and we are going to learn about how to make sentences more interesting. Dear grade 5 students, आप इसके लिए already बहुत सारी exercises कर चुके हैं, and you already know that how to make sentences and speeches more interesting. We can make the sentences more interesting by adding adjectives and adverbs in them. So let's learn about adverbs. You already know that what is an adverb. Adverbs can be added to make sentences more interesting, and you know that adverb is a word that describes a verb कि कोई action कब हुआ, कहाँ हुआ, कैसे हुआ. इसके लिए जो words use होते हैं उन्हें हम कहते हैं adverbs. The watchman glared angrily at the children. अगर इस सेंटेंस ये वाला सेंटेंस होता the watchman glared at the children, तो ये इतना इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं होता. हमने इसमें वर्ड ऐड किया angrily and it became more interesting by adding an adverb. In the above example, the word angrily is an adverb. Okay, the first exercise from this section is choose a suitable adverb from the cloud to add to each of the sentences. Okay, in front of this exercise a cloud is given here and you are given some adverbs here. You just have to pick these adverbs and add in these sentences and they will become more interesting. You will do this exercise in your English classwork notebook. So please open your English classwork notebook and prepare your classwork page. You must have to prepare your index page. Write down the exercise statement with your blue marker and the solution with blue ink pen. First sentence is the excited children ran into the yard. Okay, इस sentence को more interesting बनाने के लिए आपको एक adverb pick करना है इस cloud में से, and I have made this sentence for you just like this, that the excited children ran into the yard eagerly. I picked the adverb eagerly. Second one is they greeted their smiling teacher happily. I added here word happily. You will just write down the solution of this exercise in your classwork notebook. ये जो solution sentences आपको screen पे नज़र आ रहे हैं, आप ये वाले sentences English classwork notebook में लिखेंगे as a solution of this exercise. And the third sentence is the girl wore her new uniform proudly. The girl wore her new uniform. I added the adverb here proudly. Fourth is the pupils played in the schoolyard noisily. They shouted to each other loudly. The girls ate the ripe apples greedily. The boys looked at the broken window anxiously. The watchman shouted at them. The watchman shouted at them angrily, furiously. Okay, here we will add the word furiously. Dear grade 5 students, pause the video and write down all the solution sentences in your classwork notebook. You can add your own adverbs here in these sentences, but make sure that those make sense. For example, अगर कोई शोर मचाने वाला सेंटेंस होगा तो आप उसमें ऑफ कोर्स नॉइजली ऐड करेंगे इंस्टेड ऑफ एंशियसली और एंग्रीली और फ्यूरियसली. और इसी तरह अगर कोई गुस्से वाला सेंटेंस होगा तो उसके साथ आप हैप्पीली तो ऐड नहीं करेंगे, आप ऐड करेंगे फ्यूरियसली, एंग्रीली, ईगरली एट्सेट्रा. On book page number 129, our next topic is adjectives, and adjectives are just like adverbs, but adverbs are the words that describe a verb and adjective are the words that describe a noun. We can also use strings of adjectives to describe noun. For example, Mr. Umar wore baggy creased trousers. आप सेंटेंसेस को मोर इंटरेस्टिंग बनाने के लिए एडवर्ब्स के साथ साथ एडजेक्टिव्स भी ऐड कर सकते हैं और आप एडजेक्टिवल फ्रेजेस भी ऐड कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, इन दिस सेंटेंस baggy and creased are adjectives and trousers is a noun. Exercise 1, copy these sentences and underline the adjective. You can do this exercise on your student's book. You don't have to prepare your क्लास वर्क पेज फॉर दिस एक्सरसाइज. आप क्योंकि आपने सिर्फ यहाँ पे एडजेक्टिव्स को अंडरलाइन करना है, सो यू कैन डू दिस ऑन योर बुक. मिस्टर उमर्स एंशियंट वुडन हट वॉज अंडर द ट्री. मिस्टर उमर्स एंशियस वुडन हट. हियर एंशियस वुडन is a string of adjectives. Underline it. He had one permanently raised eyebrow. He had one permanently raised eyebrow. One permanently will be underlined. The miserable, unfriendly watchman glared at the children. The miserable, unfriendly. Miserable, unfriendly. Miserable and friendly का क्या मतलब है? It means कि बिल्कुल जो फ्रेंडली ना हो और जो बिल्कुल भी कर्टियस ना हो उसे हम कहेंगे कि वो मिजरेबली अनफ्रेंडली है, बहुत ज़्यादा अनफ्रेंडली. ही ओपन्ड द क्रीकिंग मेटल गेट. क्रीकिंग मेटल गेट. क्रीकिंग मेटल. द एक्साइटेड यंग चिल्ड्रन रैन इनटू द यार्ड. एक्साइटेड यंग. They wore shiny new uniform. What is the adjective here? Shiny new. At the end of the day, the children felt hot and tired. At the end of the day, the children felt hot and tired. Hot and tired are adjectives here. Mr. Umar went to sleep in his comfortable old chair. Comfortable old is an adjective, so we will underline it. Have you done this exercise on book page number 129? That's well. We have another exercise on page number 130 for the same topic, exercise 2, which is complete sentences with 2 or more adjectives of your own. You just have to fill the blanks on your book page. आपने क्या करना है, आपको sentences given हैं और आपने उनमें adjectives के साथ blanks को fill करना है. The first sentence is the school buildings are, I added here, tall and white. You can add your own adjectives, but make sure that those are grammatically correct, spelled correct and make sense, of course. Next is, there is a dash tree in our schoolyard. There is a big tree in our schoolyard. There is a big tree in our schoolyard. Third is, there are always dash birds in the tree. तो birds के लिए हम कोई भी adjective use कर सकते हैं. Beautiful, charming, attractive, colorful. I added here chirping birds in the tree. Sometimes there is dash fruit on the trees. Sometimes there are fresh fruit on the tree, fresh. The watchman's house is dash and dash. I added here small and old. The watchman's house is small and old. Sixth is the windows are dash and dash. The windows are broad and shiny. The watchman's face is dash and dash. The watchman's face is, you can say that, angry or sneery और स्माइली और कोई भी एडजेक्टिव्स आप यहाँ ऐड कर सकते हैं. आई एडेड अगली एंड ब्राउनिश. एट्थ वन इज ही वियर्स डैश क्लोथ्स. ही वियर्स नीट क्लोथ्स. हैव यू डन दिस एक्सरसाइज इन योर बुक पेज 130? That's good. Now let's discuss our today's homework. For this you have to open your diary, write date. If you haven't written it yet, then subject is English, and then note down your homework. And your homework is from workbook. You have to do page 75 and 74 on your workbook. Okay, dear grade 5 students, good luck. Allah Hafiz.